people. Today we have our very special guest, our recurring guest, Anndy Lian. It's good to have you back, Andy.
Hey, good to see you, man.
We're also going to do two live giveaways, but we always do it at the end of the show. It will be 2 times $10 of XRP, because we are going to talk about banking today and also about governments and a lot of other stuff. So, Andy, how are you doing?
I'm good, man. Good on a Sunday evening in Singapore right now. And when I got your invite some time ago, I was thinking what would be the best time to speak to you, because Sunday has always been a busy day for me, man.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah. For us, it's a little bit easier because Sunday is a rest day, at least for me and Jan, usually. But I get your point. Weekdays are easier for a lot of people.
I do agree, but it's okay, man. I think when we are in the field of blockchain or in the field of cryptocurrency, it's basically 24/7. That's one of the selling point, right? So let's get going and have a good chat, man.
Yeah. So actually, I think a lot of people wonder about what's going on in China, because China is going so fast when it comes to digitalization and the adoption of crypto and blockchain. Recently, of course, they launched or they're experimenting, but I think they also launched the BSN network, and it is supposed to have 2 layers. And I wonder if you could explain a little bit to the viewers, if you know how those 2 layers work of the BSN network.
I think before we talk about the different layers and so forth, it would then become a more technical kind of explanation and so forth. We take a few steps back and talk about BSN, the China's blockchain-based service network. In short, we all call it BSN, in the English world. So the service, if I'm not wrong, was launched or officially launched in April. And this is one of the first publicly known and publicly backed backed by government initiative to help the smaller enterprises, the small medium enterprises, and entrepreneurs to better deploy and build their business on a permission-based blockchain network. Last read online, they have more than 5,000 registered users, mainly comprises of enterprises and individuals on the network. And
it's also outside of China, right? It's not only in China, but they're also offering their services outside of China with the BSN.
Yes. When I talk about the 5,000 is within China itself and also outside of China. As you know, they have all the different public nodes and the public networks building up. Based on what I know from their CEO, I think it's Yifan from Red Date Technology, they have plans to bring up at least 30 to 50 or even more public blockchain networks by next year. So we definitely can see many networks being built up in the next few months, and especially when we are all stuck in this current environment. I think the kind of progress for the BSN will move extremely fast, because they on one hand are trying to connect all the different blockchain people together. They are also trying to help businesses who want to get themselves onto the blockchain space a much easier way to to get things adopted. In some ways, some of my friends say that it's more like it's more like an international route that is trying to monopolize some kind of some kind of a blockchain agenda. So I mean, my
Yeah.
friends in US especially. So, but for us, in Asia, I do see that this will be a good entry point for a lot of businesses who want to get onto blockchain and do not know
Yeah.
exactly what's the cost, how much is it, you know, how to go about doing it.
Yeah.
In one way, yes, it's good, but in another way, we had, when I say we, is that because I'm part of a business network as well. We
Mhm.
had feedback saying that would that then stop individual companies from innovating, you know. So that was one of the topic that we had a couple of weeks ago. But to us, I think is not so much on being monopolized, or everything got to go to BSN, because this is going to be a very free and open world, So let's see what they can do and what they can't do in the next few months. And I still believe that a Chinese-based initiative like this, which is backed by the government, would definitely help in many ways,
Mhm.
and will help Asia context a lot better.
Yeah, because they're really focusing on East Asia and Asia, Central Asia, I think, with
Yes.
their BSN network. And I think they're offering nodes, so public nodes for very low prices, so you don't have to create your own node to run your blockchain on. And also, I
Yes.
think a toolkit, so you can, plug and play, so to speak, and build a blockchain very easily, and you're ready, set to go. So that's very interesting, and they're also working, I think, already with 6 projects. One of them is Cosmos, of course, with Tendermint and
Yep.
the IrisNet. I actually wonder, because I'm a big fan of Cosmos, but are they really using the technology of Cosmos to build this? Build this BSN network, or is Cosmos just one of the blockchains they promote?
If
Because
you
yeah,
if you look at the put it this way, if you look at the individual press releases that are in the market right now, I think
Mhm.
I didn't like to quote projects, especially on live
Yeah.
sessions, but like Cosmos, Chainlink, and a
Mhm.
few others, they talk about how they are contributing to the BSN network. But
Yeah.
if you then talk to more people, in the industry, you will then realize that it is not so much of an exclusive relationship between the two. All right, they are just in some ways they are trying to hype up quite a fair bit of things, but
Yeah.
also on another hand, being a business itself, they are trying to tell people that, hey, I'm also involved in this BSN network.
Yeah.
I'm not out from this whole equation. But if you again look at some more official reports um, about this BSN network and so forth, leading exchanges are involved. You know, um, I think they had a first partnership meeting in China, Hangzhou, where uh, I think people like Huobi or even Binance took part in it. No, I'm not sure about the rest, but based on
Yeah.
what I understand, big big uh, China-backed companies like China Unicom, the telecom company, they are
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
involved in this whole consortium, like even Ant Finance and so forth. So we do see that the role of this consortium or this network will will definitely speed things up in the China aspects of things, and also in the international space, because what's stopping Europe from duplicating
Yeah.
something very similar, or maybe in US where they already have something similar, but not as not as united as what we see happening on BSN. So we will definitely see a lot more of such collaboration, you know, on a resources level, and also on a protocol level, that will help a lot of businesses drive their blockchain agenda ahead.
And you also see a shift in Europe towards China, away from America a little bit. And maybe that also has to do with BSN and the way China is building blockchain networks.
True, but I think in terms of the geopolitical issues, is not as simple as that.
No,
But
that's
if
true.
you look
That's
at
true.
just purely on the cryptocurrency scene right now, I think things are very rosy. You know, if you look at the various tech stocks in US, in Singapore, or even in South Korea, a lot of the tech stock has actually gone up in terms of their prices. You know, some of them has gone on a historical high, you know, for some Chinese company like Xiaomi and so forth. So they are doing their fair bit to maintain, you know, the objective, or maybe the message that during the bad times, technology companies can do a lot better than some of these other tech stock that is in the market. You know, yes or no, we are not entirely sure, because the fight against this pandemic is not ended yet. You know, so we have
No.
we have to continuously keep ourselves afloat and make sure that whatever tech that we are trying to implement stays at a sustainable model or sustainable manner in the months or in the year to come.
Yeah, because I also heard COVID is again coming up in China and Asia, that there are new hotspots forming.
Yeah.
You see it increasing there, or is it still under control? Or
I think the numbers that are in the open right now may not be the most accurate ones, especially in some of the lesser developed countries. We do see a spike in places like Indonesia, Philippines. You know, when we talk about Southeast Asia, and then in South Korea, there's also a spike in terms of the numbers. Actual numbers, we are not sure, but what I'm more concerned is about the community cases that are untraced. That is a big problem. So again, it goes back to how people are coping with the pandemic, and also how the technology can kick into the picture for all the identification purposes, or all the different tracking purposes, in which I see governments are trying very hard, you know, to implement QR scans, implement gantries, temperature check, and so forth, you know. But I do also hope to see that there's also a form of digital identity being adopted. You know, how the digital ID on blockchain or can work fairly well in the pandemic, because we had a separate conversation with one of the governor, you know, about this form of implementation. But perhaps in the next pandemic, not now, but we do see that governments and even companies are trying to solve that issue, not just producing an app that can scan, you know, or an app that can track where you are, but it got to be something more foolproof, very truthful, very transparent. So blockchain can kick into the picture, forming different kind of a digital ID for different people when they move around, when they you know.
I actually saw the Marshall Islands. They have the self-sovereign identity with their soft coin, which is, I think, what you're talking about in that direction. That you have a real, true digital ID, which is linked with your true identity.
Correct, and that can enable a lot of good tracking, right? So it goes back to the implementation of technology and how and how this is going to work for us in the future.
Mm-hmm. And also, when you talk about the spikes, the recent spikes, is it really a spike in the number of deaths, or is it the number of tests, or what kind of spike is it with COVID?
I think this question is more country specific. It's not it's not a blanket kind of answer right now. But based on what I see, some countries, for example, in South Korea, where a lot of tests were being done previously and also ongoingly, they they do see a spike because maybe of the community activities that are happening on the ground. In Singapore as well, we see the overall numbers kept at a very steady pace, a very steady rate. Of course, if you look at the official numbers, sometimes Singapore is in the hundreds or sometimes in the 500, mainly because of the workers' situation, right? They all stay in the same place, everyone got infected. But the key number that I always look at is actually the community spread, which are the trace ones and which are not trace and so forth. Those numbers in Singapore, I believe, is relatively low compared to some of our Southeast Asia counterparts. Even our nearest neighbor, Malaysia, I think, if I'm not wrong, they have extended their MCO or their equivalent of like a stay-home notice kind of thing until end of the year. So a lot of these places are affected. I even posted something earlier this week about Indonesia, Bali, thinking of opening up, and some of their islands opening up to Singaporeans. All these are mooted in the context of trying their best to see how they can facilitate such movements of tourism and business flow, but nothing is concrete yet because, just to be frank, is not a very easy task. If you bring someone in that is infected or unknown infections, that would cause a lot of trouble
With symptoms.
for many waves to come. So the vaccine got to be produced real soon, I guess.
So to come back to the BSN, I think you have a public layer for different projects or blockchains and cryptos to work on, and then I think it's mostly aimed at foreign projects. So like Ethereum and Cosmos, they can work on the second layer or on the first. It depends on how you look at it. And then I think the other layer, the layer down below, is more for the Chinese internal consumption, if I get it right, or does it work differently?
I think most of the information that you have given out is correct, but just got to bear in mind that right now, the framework is being set up. The companies supporting them are also slowly coming in. I think things will change eventually. In terms of how the different layers are going to be used. What else can it be done and so forth. We just got to wait for the announcement. But to us, from a technology standpoint, I think they have smoothened the whole process of blockchain adoption in some ways. But most importantly, the main structure, on how these traditional companies can come into the network and operate their business on the chain is more important than anything else, because we can't just be maintaining the network based on a minor mining kind of a revenue. I don't think that is going to be
you don't think that will be feasible in the long term, the proof of work system? You think the proof of work system, like with Bitcoin or Monero or something, you don't think that's feasible in the long run?
Well, I'm not saying that they are not feasible, but for the different protocols or the different consensus model, they serve a certain purpose right now at this current moment. But the main driver for a lot of such concepts, from a concept in the early or maybe in the mid of 2000 and 2000,
Mhm.
until now. I think the main concern for many businessmen and also a lot of traditional guys out in the market, they are looking at real revenue coming out from there. Like
Yeah.
if you are saying that you solve a traceability issue, they want to see how is that going to solve that issue, how much they're going to
Yeah.
pay for it, and what is the kind of a business return they get from implementing the technology. I think that kind of calculation in terms of numbers will
Yeah.
definitely give a lot of confidence to the people in the market who has not entered into the market, and of course there's the other side of the story when where people are just thinking that blockchain can just be a complementary layer, to help the existing business. Yes, it's correct,
Mhm.
but adopting a technology like this would definitely has its cost behind it. So that is one of the factors that are also stopping some of these traditional businesses to come on
Yeah.
board to just to just push up the adoption level. So we are slowly seeing that happening, but it's not going at the fastest pace, I would say.
Yeah. So you think maybe in the future also those different layers will get merged into one
They
at a certain point, or
I think at the end, I think there will be a different versions, like a beta layer or even a sandbox layer. There will be a lot of
yeah,
different things that is going to come out in the next half a year or so, because uh, there will be a very big testing and adoption phase that will roll out. There's also a big promotion agenda as well, where they are trying to bring in international players onto the chain and not just Chinese people. So
yeah,
slowly but surely is forming forming its shape. Whether it's going to call layer one, layer two, or eventually more layers pop
yeah,
up. I think the most important and underlying thing is the usage of the technology, and also and also how that can bring benefits to the business, and how that can bring benefit back to the users, so forth and so on. I think that would be the key for BSN to work.
yeah. Which also brings us to some of the other topics we wanted to talk about, which is of course bank custody. In America, they recently yeah, accepted for big banks and also for smaller banks to do custody services for their clients, which of course is a huge boon for adoption. And I think, of course, in China, they're working very hard on the DCEP yeah, a coin, so to speak. So these are, of course, very bullish signs for crypto in general, crypto adoption. And also, yeah, another topic we wanted to talk about, or at least mention, was the World Economic Forum with their Great Reset, which I think also ties in with what you just said, to bring in more technology. Because one of their agenda points is, of course, to focus all their attention on technological adoption, AI, 5G, Internet of Things, of course, also crypto, blockchain, everything coming together in one big effort to, yeah, upgrade or update the current economic social system, I guess. You also have those projects in China. I forgot the name, but there are some cities, smart cities. I think they're also tied in with this whole idea. Could you tell us a little bit more about that? I know it's a lot of different topics.
No.
I,
I think let's start off with the custody that you have mentioned. I think in our previous talk, and also in my line of work, I talk a fair bit to regulators, and also to banks. So I think um, when we talk about banks and custody, this is not a very new topic. It can be going as early as 2017. For some of the banks who are who are more forward looking. They are looking at custody They're looking at how the clearing is going to be done, you know, in the bank's context, you know, because custody is one thing, you know, dispersing it, clearing the amount, accepting the amount, you know, the AML, the KYC, the the whole process is going to be there.
Yeah.
So, but if you talk about custody alone, I know in US, there's if I'm not wrong, I read there's a OCC crypto custody letter, you know, that was being circulated out or discussed about
Brian
a
Brook.
week ago, if I'm not wrong. And then for me, things that are more more dear to me and closer to me is that, you know, I do see that bigger banks like Standard Charter um, aiming to get into the market for crypto custody by the end of the year. But we have to
Yeah.
also bear in mind that all these are pilot trial. You know, if anything screws up during this process or any kind of red flag came up,
Yeah.
the whole process is going to reverse. You know, but nevertheless, you know, the custody of tokens or custody of digital asset will definitely become something that is very mainstream in time to come. It's just a matter of time how they're going to do it and so forth. Korean bank like KB, based on what I understand, they have already been doing it. You know, they have joined the whole you know, custody works. You know, that that is made available to them. Um, I think I think I think the that industry or that piece of from a bank perspective is definitely driving ahead. But you have to also look at different kinds of custody. You know, it's not so much about get bank custody of crypto. It can be custody, a private custody service. You know, it can be a venture capital company holding on to the holding on to the tokens. So there are a lot of different ways to do the custodian services. Um, one of which that I personally felt that is a lot safer would be maybe holding some of these coins or Bitcoin in a trust manner. You know, that is again something that is done in the traditional market. I do hope to see more people you know, building up some trust, whether it's a lifetime one or is it a perpetual one. I think a trust model would actually work fairly well, you know, for
Yeah.
cryptos again in today's context. So the tax burden, the tax hurdle, the technology hurdle is no longer there, I think. um, and there's actually nothing to stop them from doing this apart from the regulations, you know, for some countries.
Yeah.
Other than that, I think it's totally fine, you know, as long as you are a proper company providing a service like that. um,
Yeah.
it should work, you know, in any places, you know. They can have a double
So
lock, they have a hard wallet, cold wallet in a safe, you know, by guarded by security guard and some other things, you know. So I think in terms of that kind of service, we will definitely see the adoption very fast, very fast, you know.
yeah. So the banks, they'll also, of course, doing that, allow for insurance and leverage within the crypto world. I think for hedge funds and venture capitalists to move more fast into the space, knowing they're backed by big banks, because the big banks, they can start right away because it will be just such a small part of their total revenue.
Correct. But
Uh,
if you look at it, you know, for a bank, you know, there are a lot of different services. You know, this can be just one of them.
yeah,
But if you look at the context again in the Asia side of things, you know, in Hong Kong, you know, there are a lot of custodian services. You know, there's a lot of trust companies. But one thing you should look at is maybe you can Google about um, virtual asset fund manager, something along that line. I can't remember the whole framework or the whole works of this virtual asset fund manager, but this is something that is going to be really interesting. You know, if you are in the finance space, you know, if you are in the in the crypto space as well, because I do know that there are some trust uh, um, companies. I don't want to name who, you know, that
Mhm.
are already in this you know in this framework. Uh, yeah, in this framework. Some have raised
Yeah.
good money as well, you know, to create that kind of a service, custodian services for crypto. So
Yeah.
a lot of things happened, you know, since since the mid of 2020 actually.
Yeah, yeah. This whole year has been a great accelerator for yeah, everything technology wise,
Yep.
and especially also crypto and blockchain. It seems. But I wonder, could you do you have any idea how those smart cities in China look like? And when you could you like paint a picture? What's a smart city with blockchain, crypto, AI? Where all those technologies come together, what that looks like for someone living in such a city. What do
Mm,
cities like that?
well,
Yeah.
I think last year we spoke in a conference about World Smart City in South Korea.
Hmm.
Um, back there we have met different operators, you know, for the technology front, you know, how they're going to create a smart city. But basically, in summary, you know, and again in the context of blockchain, is you know, for machines and machine to communicate, there must be a
Hmm.
trust level, there must be a
Yeah.
trust layer. So blockchain is actually the trust layer between the machines and the actual human being running and operating from where they are. You know, just example, you know, if everything is going to be purely smart, 100% technology driven, when the delivery man or even the robot that is going to deliver the food or the parcel to you, you know, you got to trust that robot or that person, right? So
Yes.
through the technology, you can then identify who they are. You know, it goes back to the digital identity concept that I was saying briefly earlier. That links up to the whole system. You verify that this guy is the real actual guy. You know, is again verified through the data they have collected on chain. You know, using IoT devices like a camera or you know and so forth and so on. You know that helps to securitize everything, you know, in a smart city, because when we talk about full smart city, everything is all managed from the phone, you know, everything is could be even automated, you know, in some way. So
Yeah.
um, they they we just got to adapt to all these new things that's happening. You know, whenever we talk about China smart city, in my opinion, you know, I always look at Hangzhou, where is a place of for one of the tech giants
Yeah.
in China, right? So they fix a lot of problems, you know, using their city brain concept, you know, like fixing the traffic issues, redistributing power and so forth, you know. Those are things that are already doing, you know, happening in different parts of the world, you know, not just in China, you know.
No, no, no. I think also in Canada and America.
Correct,
Yeah.
correct. In Canada as well.
Yeah.
Also, some of my friends in Sweden as well. You know, they talk about smart homes. You know, not just smart city, but smart homes as well. So there's a lot of talk on this, and I do again believe that um, that the smart city can actually utilize on the technology such as blockchain to put people and environment first, and that could make a lot of a difference, in times to come, where that some of these cities, like urban cities, where traffic is a big issue, healthcare is in a mess, so such technology together with things like artificial intelligence, 5G network, and also blockchain, and of course at the end, when the city gets too smart, they may think that cryptocurrency can take over fiat currency, and they can just purely operate on crypto, right? 100% on crypto and so forth. That all can happen, in months to come.
What is the time frame in your mind for some, because there are already building smart cities. I think they're already finished and operating. So how fast does such a development or revolution proceed?
I think
You see it happen?
it has to then depend on what we are talking about right now. If we are talking about converting existing cities into a smart city, I think that is going to take a long time. Yeah, because there's a lot of existing legacy and infrastructure issues and so forth. Not everything is just one router, one internet connection can solve all the issues, right? Because if you really want it to be automated, your curtains need to be redone, redo. Even your piping, your toilet piping and so forth, you got to redo as well. When you talk about really full smart homes where they can again redistribute water, redistribute energy and so forth, that is going to take a while. But if you take a step backwards, you look at smart homes, I think that should be quite easy. A lot of our homes are fairly smart, from the security door to the cameras to the fan, all these small minor smart home abilities is a no-brainer, is already there. But if you talk about smart cities, infrastructure, in fact, in China, again in South Korea, even in Thailand, some of the bigger construction companies are building smart cities, in their own manner. But it's not 100%. It's not 100% foolproof yet, in my opinion, because the lack of the security level or the trust level that blockchain can provide. So that one hasn't really kicked in yet, and it will kick in for some of the projects that I know. And again, this is not going to take too long, because if once their city is built, they have the buyers ready, I think they can straight away roll out. But coming back to the point where I talk about smart cities and also decentralized, they have their own decentralized power grid, they have their own filtration system, so forth and so on. That is going to take a long while, because in order for that to happen, or even some of the people that I talk to, they talk about running the whole smart city just with a cryptocurrency. I think conceptual wise, it's not a problem, but who is brave enough to do that? I'm not sure. Who is so crazy enough to do that? I'm not sure. Maybe people like Brock Pierce, he could after his presidency, he could look at a smart city on full crypto, and he can be the governor even. But
so these smart cities are still like big sandboxes, which are behind a firewall, so to speak, to experiment and to fix everything before they before they really go online, so to speak. They're still in the experimentation phase, or
no. Smart cities in today's definition is just basically a city that is well connected with camera sensors and so forth. That kind of smart city is a no-brainer. All right.
But they're already here and already operating and already functioning.
Yes. So that kind of smart city is a no-brainer. But if you are looking at a decentralized smart city
Yeah.
where where even the
Blockchain.
power grid, you got to run on your own, you build your own reservoir, so forth and so on. That could be a bit far. That could be a bit far from reality, because most of them are just talking about um, the traditional smart cities that we all know. But if you're talking about decentralized plus cryptocurrency back smart cities, uh, not yet, man. Not even on comics, man.
And also, I think because in the past, the big important cities, they were all always built along water routes near the sea or rivers or something along those lines because of the traffic and the commerce. But I think with smart cities, you could also just place them anywhere you want inside the country. Or so, do you think those smart cities that are building now or that have been built will be the new, yeah, commerce cities of the world, attracting people, attracting business, attracting everything? Or do you still think you need to build those cities along water routes and in the traditional sense?
I think if the if the plot of land that you call city is big enough, you could build everything on solar panel. You can build
Yeah,
a entire filtration system for every different house, recycle the water, uh, uh, and so forth and so on. That can be done. That can be done. But like I say, it's not the easiest thing to do, and definitely not of any priority to many different government and people, in the world. I have friends in Japan that is building portable homes, or maybe floating homes as well,
yeah,
where they used their own patented technology to refine used water. They use uh, the solar energy to heat things up. A hot bath, to cook the food.
renewables.
All renewable,
Yeah,
so forth and so on. Yes, there are a lot of such concepts. You can also see some of the floating homes in Maldives, but these are all not mainstream yet. So
yeah,
again, not anytime too soon, but the traditional smart city uh, a city, is not a problem.
mhm,
Is fairly easy. In fact, a lot of the cities are fairly smart.
yeah,
In Singapore or even in Beijing, is very smart. Everything is all the cameras are everywhere, right?
yeah,
All their even government services are all online on the app. Everything is very live. So that
yeah.
kind of smart city is easily
Already there.
solved. But the other kind of smart city, that is
Yeah,
going to take a while.
futuristic kind.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so Andy, I want to thank you very much for all the input and all the info. There's a lot of stuff to think about, and we should certainly explore this topic or these topics more in the more in the future.
No problem.
So I hope we can get you back on soon, and
No
then we
problem.
can dive into this stuff. It's really interesting.
No problem.
I want to thank you for your time. Is there anything you're working on you want to share with the viewers, or any projects or?
No, no, no. Like I again shared previously. I think it is, for me, is at least for the rest of the year. I want to see if there's a chance to be part of a unicorn. It could be,
Yeah.
again, with existing project, or even a upcoming project. I hope to be part of it, because at times, and at different phases in life, it's not so much about uh, um, you know doing the work, for the sake of doing it. If you
Mm.
know that, you want to uh,
Build
you
something
know
bigger.
grow bigger and so forth, and you can't do it alone. The best other way is to join a much bigger and more effective a group that could push up everything up, you know. Yeah.
Because we mentioned that at the start, or at least before we went live, that we wanted to combine the different influencers into one big scheme, so people shouldn't have to listen to all the different live streams, but they can go to one place where they can get their information from everybody together, instead of everybody separate doing the same thing.
One of the media group that we own here, I think if you Google online, it's called Block Paths, BLOCKPATHS.com. They have actually aggregated a lot of the good live stream or the streams for crypto. I think that is a good start, you know, for the people that you know that work together. So that website and the people behind it, they are all live and trying to provide the best content together with.
Can you pass me the link? Then I'll put it underneath in the description box, and I'll also check it.
No problem.
Public,
no problem. Right? I think we have to work closer together to see how we can bring that agenda up a lot faster and not working on a silos manner, because if you see right now in the crypto space, you know, a lot of these influencers are just working alone by themselves, you know, and trying to get hold of the different sponsors and so forth. I find that it become a very cluttered space where a lot of misinformation are being spread. A lot of you know, the term you use is FUD and so forth. You see a lot of this. That also then brings up the point where you know, some of these influencers are pushing projects that are ridiculously
that's true.
scams, you know. So we should be more conscious of the things that we are putting up in the crypto space, you know, and also not misleading some of these fans or followers who are following them very closely, and get a bad return kind of thing, you know. So we just got to be very careful about that, and I hope the agenda can be better managed in the times to come, and let's see, man.
I think there's of course, working together, you can put a lot more effort into getting points across, and to perfect your message and to get people on the right track. But also, you know, having separate influencers can also give a sort of freedom to pursue different paths also. So you should have a little bit of both, of course.
True.
But I agree. Yeah, there should be more quality control. More effort of putting things together. Yeah.
Surely.
So Andy, I don't want to take up any more of your time. I know you have a very busy schedule yourself. So I want to wish you a very nice day, and I hope to see you return soon.
All right. No problem.
Hey.
Bye, my friend.
Take care.
Take care.
Take care.
Bye.
I'll continue because I have to do the giveaways.
Okay.